This is Joe Crispin, former Penn State and professional basketball player. You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
I think you said that he could have gotten more separation.
There were some technique fundamentals in receiver that weren't perfect in the 80s. I had to throw a few points of criticism.
What was it like playing in March Madness? I mean, we have it going on right now.
But playing it was amazing. I mean, like, that's kind of your whole goal is to just be a part of that. It's such a special thing where the whole country is tuning in and anything is really possible, you know.
You know, my optimistic side said, like I said, that we're going to be okay. We just had a bad game. We're probably experimenting a little bit, ran into a good team. So.
If Miami came to our house, we would probably, if anything, win. We wouldn't get blown out.
When you first started playing football, you know, did you always want to play in college?
No, I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then 8th grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel. He's like, hey, I got the job. And I was just like, all right, I'll play football for you.
You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. It's as honest and as raw as sports talk can be. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Garrity.
So Anthony Lottie will punt it away from the 41. Greg Garrity is the deep man for Penn State at the 10-yard line.
Former Penn State receiver and 2016 Big Ten champion. You're listening to the best Penn State Nittany Lion podcast, the Mark Lesko Podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back in to another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast, Steeler Central. Joined by Jared. Jared's got his terrible towel up there.
Whoa, buddy!
Yeah, big win, man. Definitely a statement win for sure. That's a good team they played on the road. They were down by 10 at one point. And yeah, just going through the box score, I mean, everyone scored pretty much.
Yep.
You got Russ had 3 touchdowns. Najee had 1. Threw one to George, Mike, and Pat. You know, everyone got the ball. Mike Williams really made a statement. And I think even our new guy saw some time on the defensive side. So
yeah.
I think he's, yeah. Is it Larry? Larry? No, not Larry.
No, Preston Smith.
Yeah, Preston Smith. He got some rotations. 3 tackles and a sack. So, yeah, they look good, man. 3 sacks. I mean, that's a good team they beat. And again, on the road.
Yep.
Just a really good overall game. Russ looked good. I mean, they just, the whole team looked pretty solid. But they came back, and this was the controversial spotting, I guess.
Yeah.
This thing, but
yep.
This is why I have ad blocking stuff, because of stupid ads like that. But yeah, man. I guess I didn't watch the entire game, but
Bud, that drive when they had the 4th and 9, and I saw they caught that ball. When I saw his knee go down in the replay, in the slow motion, I went, oh my gosh, he actually has it behind the line when his knee is down. I mean, I think that is how that ruling goes. If your body goes down, when it goes backwards like that, like he caught it around the line of scrimmage, but when he went down to the ground, his knee was there on the ground before the line, and when he went to turn around to extend, both Kazi and, I want to say who the other guy was. I can't think of the name. Oh, shoot. I don't know if it was Fitzpatrick or not, but I know because he was a part of that, and it was like, it was like the greatest stop. Like an inch more, they would have given them that first down, but they absolutely held him where he stopped. So
yeah,
you can't ask for more for defense, dude. Oh, easily one of the best plays I've ever seen.
And then George Pickens, I mean, he had a catch. I mean, his hands are unreal.
I cannot believe that. He's like sideways with that. I mean, You're sideways in the air, catching it like to your side. I mean, wow.
Yeah, he's a freak of an athlete. He really is.
He is the Cirque du Soleil of football, man. I mean, no one can do what he does, except if you're in the circus.
Yeah, and then Najee got in.
Yes,
you
sir.
know you're having a good. I mean, since Russ started playing, it's really opened up the run game totally.
Yes, sir.
So that's.
I mean, everyone's contributing.
Yeah, Jalen had 60, Najee had 50. So 140 yards rushing, 172 yards passing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, overall, just really, really good game. And, they did what they were supposed to do. They had 4 touchdowns. We had a touchdown every quarter.
Yep.
And they did it when it mattered most. Now right here, he's holding his face mask. I don't know if that could be. I don't think that would be necessarily a face mask because the play was dead after that.
The play was dead. Yeah, that was dead when they blew the whistle. Yeah. But no, like if you want to go quarter by quarter, dude, it was a very, very amazing matchup. Like between the Commanders' side of the ball with defense and what Russell and them were trying to push through. I mean, yeah, Russell and them found ways to extend drives, make everything count. And when it was all said and done, they got the ball in the end zone. Like between the George Pickens circus catch and Najee just barreling through to get 14 points. And again, Pat Freiermuth. I mean, that was the Pat Freiermuth. Sorry. In the first quarter, that was Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens. And it was like, yeah, Russell Wilson has very much become a part of the offense. He is the reason why the offense is clicking. But we then began to see the surge of the Washington team. I mean, they very much kept themselves in this game. I mean, listen, you want to talk about boneheaded plays. I mean, I love that Danny Smith guy, dude, but at the same time, you cannot try a trick play when you're on your 12-yard line backed up and you're fourth and long. And I don't know who the guy was. I think it was number 42 or 43, whoever that was for us. He had a terrible catch. It was the easiest throw. I mean, it was right to him and he just drops it. I mean, it was just so bad. I mean, unless you know for 100% certainty you were going to catch that ball, I would not have done that at all. And that did technically cost them because that forced the Commanders to get a touchdown. So little things like that can hurt you. And it did for 99% of the game, or the last 2 minutes of the game. Until then, the Mike Williams' miraculous moon ball catch. I mean, oh my Lord, dude. I remember when I was watching that play, please don't judge me on this. I do a thing with my DirecTV, and I have my DVR. What I do is when the play begins, I hold it pause, and then I start hitting fast forward, and I just watch it slowly happen. I can't watch it live. I cannot. My heart just will not take that. So I'm literally just watching that man go down the field. And I didn't even know who 18 was. That was the thing. When I saw that ball just beautifully thrown, and I saw how much separation he had, I'm sitting there going, who is that? Who is that? And then I see Williams, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Oh my gosh, dude. It was just beautifully placed. And again, we watched them go back and forth in that whole second half where once the Commanders took over the lead at the end of the half, dude, that was such a momentum killer to me because we had them pinned back at their 6 and we just let them, and we penalized them to a touchdown. Joey Porter had at least 2 personal pass interference calls. He was holding all over the place, and they called him on it every time, and it was just constantly extending the drive, and they eventually got the touchdown where the half was 17-14. We were winning 14-7 in the first, and then we were down 17-14, and then they took that ball, and they went down the field again, and it was 24-14. I will say this, dude. If it was not for that offensive score in the next drive for the Steelers, dude, I don't think I would have turned the TV back on. I mean, it was just this cannot be happening with how much time you had to prepare for the game with the bye and knowing what your record is against rookie quarterbacks. Now, Jaden Daniels, he is a fantastic rookie quarterback. He did everything he could as a rookie to play against that defense. I mean, dude, look at those numbers. I mean, what is it? 17 for 34 with 200 some yards throwing. Yeah, for Jaden Daniels. Yeah, 202 yards. Like, dude, he only completed 50% of his passes and had just 200 yards. Man was averaging like 350 a game with like a touchdown or two. So he absolutely was owning the season against anyone he played. He even looked better against the Ravens. But, let's not talk about how good the Ravens defense is because it's really not. So, but yeah, once that was down 24-14 and then Najee and them pushed that ball through to make it 24-21. Yeah, it was definitely back and forth after that. Like we had a 3-and-out. They had a series where we punted back and punting. And eventually I know that Russell Wilson interception, that costly interception that gave them that field goal to make it 27-21 where we were forced to then throw the touchdown pass. And when we pinned them back to when Jalen Warren fumbled that ball at the 1 yard line, dude, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This game is just nuts. Like, how many interceptions and bad throws and fumbles? Like, it was like, no way is this going to go down like this. Oh, I would have been sick to my stomach for a week or two. I mean, it was just like everything was going the Commanders' way when it was like we were so close to punching it in, and then it just goes the other way. But yeah, so they had their ball at the 1 yard line, and then we gave them a 3-and-out. And we got the ball back. And again, the moon ball to Mike Williams, the savior of the game, of the season, pretty much, because without that, we're dead. I mean, you just only had George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth doing what they were doing all day. Now we have Williams. Now we have the other threat. We have at least 3 or 4 guys. Now, again, you can put Pat in this conversation. I want to say Darnell can be a threat too. But yeah, in the end, dude, when we got that touchdown and we had to stop them, and that very, very controversial 4th down, I get that. He caught the ball at the line, but when he came down on the field, his knee went down behind the line. When he caught it, he was going backward motion, and he went down with his knee. So the defenders were right there to put him down, and they didn't extend. So they had to keep watching, and they got the ball back. And it was then here came the more fun part. We still had a minute 18 left, and we had to just get a first down, and we were getting stopped because we kept running the ball, and Washington used all 3 of their timeouts. And there was a minute and 2 seconds left in the game. We were down 4th and 1. We stopped at almost the line again, and we went for it. We put all the offense back on that field, and I just remember watching them go for it, and I thought to myself, could they pull it off? Could they actually get the other team to jump? Because that's what they were doing. They were going to see if they could get the Washington Commanders to jump, and surely enough, you saw the flinch from the defensive player, and it went offsides, and we got the first down because of that 4th. I mean, dude, I cannot remember the last time I saw a game decided on a defensive offside. Like, that is insane. So, yes, in the long run of it all, it was the most stressful game I think I've seen all season. It went back and forth. It was a nail biter on both sides, and everyone showed up. Like, there was no clunkers with it. We kept pushing. Like, dude, we didn't give up once. I was so stunned how we were able to constantly keep coming back, no matter how many times we kept giving that ball away. And in the end, dude, the better teams always show you how they can play under pressure, and we got them to jump. So it's like Washington is so close, dude. They're a year or 2 away from really taking over that whole entire division. I mean, the Washington Commanders are a damn good football team, and I commend them for completely putting that whole game on us. We had to prove everything. Russ had to show that he can be a big game player. We had to show the defense they can make stops when it mattered, and it did. And in the end, we have the win. Now we move on to the next opponent at 7-2, man. First in the AFC North. Yes, sir.
Yeah, being first is definitely a perk because, I mean, we got some good teams in our division. The Ravens winning doesn't help us, but, at the end of the day, it just keeps it to pretty much us two at the top. But, yeah, we're still the leaders because we have 2 losses. Ravens have 3. And, looking at our schedule going forward, we've got Baltimore next week. We had our bye, so we're done with that. So we got Baltimore next week at home. Then we're at Cleveland, and I think that's Monday night.
No, Thursday night.
Thursday night. And then we're at Cincinnati, and then I think Hard Knocks starts Soon. I think it starts soon. Hard Knocks for the Steelers. Hold on. Let me see. I'm just going to look it up. Because it starts... when will it start? Do you know when it starts? Hard Knocks?
I know they started doing footage of it. I think if it's not like sometime like
December
at the end of the
3rd.
month, it's definitely before the end of the month. I know that.
December 3rd, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got that home stretch, man. That could be very interesting, but we got Baltimore at home next week, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, for Cleveland again, at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. So we got a tough schedule, but I'm pretty confident in us. And I'll tell you what, man, like Russell Wilson is the real deal. He really is. He's doing really good. He looks good. I mean, he looks comfortable. He's got a great arm. He's very accurate. I mean, we got the Russell Wilson. We got about as good of a Russell Wilson as we can get right now. You know, I don't know. Would you say he's in his prime right now again? Like, I don't think he's quite. I don't know.
I mean, listen, if Prime Russell is 10, I'd say we've got like the 8.6 version of him, no less. Like, he's definitely somewhere in that vicinity of being the guy he was 10 years ago. Like,
Yeah,
I always loved how that man threw the ball. As much as I was like, man, you know, if we ever have to play him, I know how much he can throw it and sling it. And now we're witnessing it for us. Like, I could not be happier for our team with what we have been going through with the quarterback play. I mean, it's just, it's like night and day, dude. Because you know darn well, and I know everyone in the organization knew, if we still had Kenny Pickett as our starter, dude, we're not winning half these games. Like, that's just the reality of it. And I don't mean to sound condescending when I say that, but it's just, this is where it's at right now. The Steelers have understood that they cannot afford to take another step back, because it just seems like every season it's something with either injury or scheduling or a player or non-player. Like, it's just, there's always something that derails like the season, and it has been that way for the last 5 years at least. I mean, ever since that 11-0 start with the 2020 season, this team has not given you any reason to think that they are like where the Ravens and Lamar should be, or like where Justin Herbert and the Chargers, or Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, you know, all these teams that have their quarterback with their team behind it. Like, it used to be every time they would do a highlight for a Monday night or a Sunday night game, they would always show the quarterback of the other team and TJ Watt. They would never show a quarterback for Pittsburgh because they didn't have one, like the good one. I mean, and right now, it's like Russell Wilson is honestly in the conversation right now for one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Like, he is just so poised, taking care of business. I very much appreciate the man doing everything he can to give us the best version of himself. So in the end, this is what you have to go with, and I'm all for it. Like, it's not going to make me complain. I mean, give me the best version of Russell Wilson and give me a chance to go to the playoffs and do something. Absolutely.
Yeah, so he has 7 touchdowns through 3 games. So that's an average of over 2 touchdowns a game. And yeah, he's looking good. I mean, overall, man, he's like I said, he's fitting in really well. So, you know, I'm really happy to see it. And
but again, like, that's the thing about this whole performance. Like, what you're talking about with Russell Wilson, dude, is that you're seeing how he is handling himself throughout a series. Like, he got the interception. Yeah, it was tough, but he came right back on the field, dude, and just kept playing. It's not like he was doing anything to give you any reason that it was going to be a step back. I'm not saying that we would have seen that with our other quarterbacks, but dude, when you know you've been in the league for over 12 years as a veteran like he has, like, he is poised to just take care of business and always show that he is right now the best version of himself. He's healthy. He knows how to play this game, obviously. And it was like the entire team was able to rally around everything that went down. So, like, they kept responding. They kept pushing forward. That is exactly what a good team does. Thank goodness. I mean, we need that good team. Because right now, again, we're about to go up against Baltimore. I mean, it's going to be a home game, thank goodness. But still, we are definitely going to be showing every facet of our game to get through it. And if we can get through Baltimore, dude, and sneak out a win there and be 8-2 and completely stamping our first place division spot, I mean, you're talking about, like, do the Steelers have a chance against the Bills or the Chiefs? I'm not saying that Ravens will go away if we beat them, but after that, dude, we would be no less than third in the AFC.
Yeah, I think we can compete, at least compete with just about everybody. I mean, it's hard to compete with the Chiefs. It's hard to compete with the Niners right now. But, I mean, we got a shot for sure. I mean, can we compete with... They kind of remind me of the 2005 team a little bit, where they, like, squeaked their way into the playoffs and then they won the Super Bowl. But, you know, can we compete with anybody? I mean, I think so. I mean, you know, the Chiefs are like Ohio State. They're going to get all the calls. Nothing's going to go for the other team, especially if they're on the brink of losing or whatever. I mean, the Chiefs got away with one today. So overall, at the end of the day, man, like, you know, they look good. I know they can compete and make the playoffs and maybe make a run. But, you know, the question right now is, can they compete against the best in the league? And we'll see. But that's a really good team they beat on the road. I mean, that team is they're really good. I don't care if Jane Daniels is a rookie. They look good. And Austin Eckler had like a career day. Even for him, you know, overall, I mean, it was just a good showing by them. So going forward, I'm happy. And, you know, we'll find out through our schedule here to end, like, how we can compete, how we can do against the NFL, because this was a really good test, and I think they came out pretty good. And I mean, Austin Eckler had a career day in the sense that he had 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's anybody in the NFL who has 2 touchdowns in a game, you know, that's pretty darn good. But
yes,
yardage-wise, he didn't. But he had 2 touchdowns. He looked good. Jeremy Nichols had a touchdown. So the run game definitely got us today. But again, I mean, we gave up 27 points. Probably could have given up more, and we didn't. And then, you know, we come away with a 1-point win. So, do you think the Steelers can compete with, you know, anybody? Like, as time goes on with our hard schedule, we'll find out more. But do you think they can compete as time goes on with the Chiefs, the Niners, the Eagles, whoever?
So, look, what you're talking about with Baltimore coming up, Baltimore has arguably one of the worst pass defenses I've ever seen from them in all the years I have followed them. So the fact that we just witnessed the game ending with a new acquired player making a huge catch with Russell's moonball, dude, that right there has got to put a lot of pressure on Baltimore right now, because, again, George Pickens makes these amazing catches with those moonballs himself. And then you have Mike Williams into this conversation. I am just so stinking happy I was proven wrong, because you know me. We would talk about how I went on Facebook, and I remember when I found out we had Mike Williams, and I'm like, you have had how many stinking months to get Ayuk, and you had a chance to get Adams, you had a chance to get all these players, and then you settle for Mike Williams. Like, how dare you? And then he made that catch, and I went, well, okay, yeah, you were right. I was wrong. You know, I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Reminds me of, who was receiver number 17?
Wallace? Mike Wallace?
Mike Wallace, yeah. So he kind of reminds me of him a little bit. But Mike Williams, he's one of those old school, like, tall receivers, big body receivers that can move.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a very large man. He's like Megatron a little bit, but
he's like 6'4", isn't he? Like 6'4". That's a tall dude.
It was great to see him get a touchdown, because he's kind of had a rough career thus far. And to see him come in and get a touchdown, that's awesome.
Right. So now what you have is you have Williams and Pickens, who can do the 50-50 balls, and you have Pat Freiermuth or Darnell Washington, big, huge guys that get open for tight ends. It opens up their game. And again, Najee and Jalen, I mean, come on. I mean, this tangent right now is just absolutely some of the best we have seen them look. Like, they're both healthy now. It's really a positive. Now, unfortunately, we did have kind of a bad news thing happen at the end of the game. Alex Highsmith had to be helped off the field. He got hurt in a play. Like the next to last play when he went to go for Jaden Daniels, he went down. I don't know the severity of the injury, but dude, they had to kind of help him off the field with his ankle. He went down on Jaden Daniels' ankle, and then you watch both of their ankles go like that. Both of them did it, but obviously Highsmith got the worst of it, and he went down. He didn't get up. They needed to help him off. So I don't know. You're looking at like the potential of now seeing Nick Herbig come back. I know he's going to be back for this game. They did say like he was a game time decision for this game, and they decided to rest him. And I think we're going to probably see Smith and Herbig on the other side with Watt. Now, as far as Watt is concerned, I mean, he has been double teamed and he has been covered left and right for these last couple of games. Like, I think his whole season has like 7.5 sacks on it at the most. It's like, I mean, he's not having the MVP season I think everyone wants him to have. I mean, he is always going to be a baller no matter what, but teams are really doing their darndest to take him out, and they have done that so far. I'm not saying he's putting all of his energy into Baltimore next week, but you got to think, a guy like that, when he plays a team like that knows the importance of the Steelers-Ravens rivalry, and he knows what he has to do in that game, I would not be surprised if he had to hold back. So he knows that all of his energy has to go to Baltimore because they need it. Like, regardless of what their pass defense is not anymore, Lamar Jackson can still get you 4 or 5 touchdowns in a game with his legs, with his arm. Like, he is becoming a huge threat in the NFL when it comes to being a huge MVP caliber player. So that we're going to have to be on all cylinders with that. Can we beat them? I personally think what I just named off for everybody, the weapons we have and all the things we can do defensively too, yeah, I do think that we have a chance of beating this team. But the question is, will the defense do what they did this week and stop it when it matters? Because, again, it might come down to a 1.2. I don't know how it will go. I really don't, because between Lamar's ability to throw now and Russell Wilson with Ravens' lack of pass defense, dude, this might be an uncharacteristic game for Ravens and Steelers. Like, we could see 28-24 as opposed to the 16-13s that we normally see. So it's going to be close, dude, but I have every confidence with what I've witnessed from these last few games, watching how they handle themselves after a bad series and seeing like the turnovers. Like, man, normally that destroys you as a team, but they showed up, they kept coming, they did not give up. I could not be happier to see that this team has everything going for them. And you know what? I have to also give it to Tomlin a little bit, because he as a coach could have easily just faltered himself. Like, he could have made bad plays, and I didn't see one throughout the second half, really. I mean, he didn't show any signs that he was going to be slick or he wasn't trying to do anything wrong, and he actually showed up and did his job. Like, it was such a well-balanced game on both sides, but in the end, we had the win, and now it gives us the opportunity to continue this with Baltimore coming to our place. Like, believe me, that place is going to be rocking. And as far as the Eagles and the Chiefs and everyone else after that concern, if we can get through Baltimore at 8-2, dude, we have then the Browns, and then we have the Bengals, and then we have the Browns again, and then we have, I believe it starts that whole Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, like, gauntlet. I mean, if we can get through the next month, around 10-4, 11-3, dude, we're going to the playoffs. We have a chance of winning the division. Like, it's very much in our grasp. So you win next week's game, dude, I truly believe the Steelers could very well be a team that could make it all the way, because they're showing that they know how to go all the way in a game.
Yeah. Overall, they've definitely shown that they can compete. I mean, this was definitely a statement game, as I said, and going forward with this schedule, we will find out over the next few weeks if we can actually compete with really good teams, but I do think we have a shot. I do think we can. If we finish strong, I mean, because our schedule is really hard going forward, but if we finish strong, and we've done well so far, then I mean, the sky's the limit for them, honestly. It is. So, and we got to stay healthy. We already have a ton of injuries. And I don't know, Highsmith, if, let me see. I don't know if they have anything for Highsmith right now. But, yeah. But a lot of injuries, man. I mean, our rookie, Batanu, I mean, he's been out all year, and we don't even have. There's a ton of guys we're missing right now. So yeah, I agree. Like I think we're gonna find out, but I think we can compete right now. So that's that's a good sign going forward.
I mean, listen, we do have a weakness in this team. It's not like everything is clicking, but we do have a weakness, which is a beaten up offensive line. Like if if one player goes down, dude, and we have to have another backup come in, I mean, it's going to get tougher for Najee and company to find the holes and then Russell to stay on his feet. I mean, again, when you play a team that has like a ferocious defense, which again, you give me a name of so the Ravens probably have the best run defense, like outside of their pass. I mean, if it's the other way for them, that's what it looks like. But between the Chiefs, the Eagles, like they have a good defense. I'm not saying they don't have an elite defense, but they have a good defense. I think, the Browns, like they have, like, I think that's the last good thing about them. The Bengals, like, dude, their defense is abysmal. Like they can't stop anything, throwing, running. It's like, dude, you watched what Lamar and them did on Thursday night, 35-34. Dear Lord, that is not an AFC North game. I mean, that's just bad. So you're looking at the rest of our schedule as teams that have offensive juggernauts. Like, that's the thing. Lamar Jackson and company can put up 35 points. The Chiefs can, rattle off four or five touchdowns if they felt like it. I mean, the good news is, dude, we don't play the Texans. We don't play the Bills. We don't play there's another good team in the AFC. I'm blanking right now. But yeah, like you're talking about all these teams that we're facing. We probably have the best defense out of all of those remaining teams, dude. Really. It's just a question of how good is that defense against these teams that have the better offenses. Now, Jaden Daniels, that man, like I said, he was averaging 350 yards a game. Like, and we held him to what we did. Like, that right there showed, all right, we checked that box. Now, can we do the same thing against Lamar? Can we do the same thing against Patrick? Can we do the same thing against Jalen? That's what it's going to really come down to. The Baltimore Ravens, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. You do this against those teams, shouldn't matter what the rest of the season has.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly going to see soon. So, but yeah, big win today. I'm happy about that, and I know you are too. And I mean, again, on the road against Washington, who's a good team. Just a great performance overall as a team. So, Jared, do you have anything else to say?
I am got it, bud. I think we're good for next week, but I can't wait to get to our debate against the Ravens. And it's going to be awesome.
That's going to be a crazy, crazy game. There's a lot on the line there. Because if we win, then, I mean, that's another really big statement. So,
Kings versus Kings of the North, bud. This is what it's coming down to. Who's the real king,
Yep. All right, Jared. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah. You guys put your comments below when you listen to it, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.